to welcome people back to the main stage and hope you're enjoying. It's been we have future of payments, future of food. But I think everyone here today is to hear Karena with her special guest, Savio Kwan, who is really one of the former president and COO of Alibaba. I'll leave it to Karena to introduce him, but I hope you all enjoy this session, and thank you so much. Karena, over to you.
Thank you very much, Walter, and welcome, Savio. I am super thrilled to welcome you here on main stage at Startup Impact Summit to talk about how to turn corporate culture into a competitive advantage. And I will try to go a little bit through your amazing bio and background. So currently you are the non-executive director at Alibaba Entrepreneurs Fund in Hong Kong since its very early inception in 2015. I still remember that. You are the former president and COO of Alibaba. You had left a great career, including jobs at General Electric's Medical Systems, BTR, Invensys, and much more. Now, at the same time, you are still also acting as a member of the London Business School Governing Board since 2018, visiting executive professor at Henley Business School, reading non-executive director BAT Group since 2014, and co-founder, partner, and CEO of A&K Consulting since 2005. And you're also lecturing at Hong Kong University. Savio, over to you. How do you introduce yourself in a few words? And can you give us a bold statement about corporate culture?
Yes, I think you have done a great introduction, Karena. You got everything. I'm not about to repeat it. I'm here representing the Hong Kong Alibaba Entrepreneurial Fund. This is a fund to help startups who are Hong Kong centric. They do not have to be Hong Kong people, as long as their operation and their startup is Hong Kong centric. So we're open to the whole world, doing startups around Hong Kong. So that is a great opportunity. And then really the key thing we are going to talk about today is a corporate culture. I really believe a corporate culture is a core competency that actually differentiates you and gives you your competitive advantage.
Fantastic. I love this as a bold statement. We'll discover that throughout our talk. But before we dig into corporate culture, just a little bit back to you and your story. So it says that you had left an amazing career at General Electrics to join Jack at Alibaba at a time where I think you didn't realize he had only had 5 months of burn rate left, of runway left.
Yes, it is really quite interesting. When I joined, everybody sort of said to me, RIP, because you're going to go into the internet bust and then joining a little startup that probably is not funded that well. And they were quite right. We are funded quite well. We have 25 million US dollar invested. But by the time I got there, Jack was very encouraged. He said, Savio, we are very well off. We have 10 million US dollar. And then he emphasized the US dollar. And Joe Tsai, our CFO, said, but Savio, we have a high burn rate. I've never heard of a burn rate before. So I asked him how much. And Joe said 2 million a month. I thought it was RMB. Then Joe said US dollar. So that actually gave the game up, and we had only 5 months to live. So that actually is the first order of business, is to survive.
Fantastic. And you, I think you told me actually, Joey Tsai had to explain to you what burn rate means.
Yes, he said burn rate is an eloquent way of saying you're losing money. Joe, the ever eloquent lawyer.
Fantastic. But actually tell us, what guided your career choice? I mean, making such a bold move, what was really the trigger?
It was really funny because I suddenly realized I have learned tremendous amount from Alibaba, especially from Jack. Jack is very much a contrarian. And Jack's motto is, if everybody knows about it, then there's not much opportunity. If everybody thought it was not good, perhaps it is actually a real chance for you to make a difference. So that is actually what's driving the joining. Even though all my friends say, Savio, you have lost your mind, you go there and then you're going to die. But it didn't happen. So we're lucky, but I think we also follow the contrarian route and ask the key question: how do we survive, and what we have to do to survive? So
absolutely. So go ahead.
After you.
Yes. So tell us a little bit, the first months you arrived at Alibaba. So what were some of the experiences you learned and valuable lessons that you kept on afterwards?
The first few days I arrived, I realized we are paying a lot of people really well, especially the expats. We have young expats who are earning $250,000 on a startup, so things like that. So I remember offering to one of our expats, who is a Belgian, who used to run our English website, and I say, you earn too much and we can't afford you, but I'm going to give you an offer you cannot refuse, which is to halve your salary, but then I'll give you 3 times your option. He said, not over my F-King dead body. So he got fired very quickly. And I think that actually set the scene. But to actually do the restructuring, that is not that hard, because it is very clear, if we do not restructure, we are all going to die in less than 5 months, because the investors are not going to give you all the 5 months. I think they're going to watch you for a month or 2 and then decide to pull the plug. So we had to move really fast. So we were able to put up a strategy, the 3B2C, back to China, back to coast, and back to center. Back to China is easy. Back to coast is where in China, who would be supporting us, the coastal areas who has money and who has innovative ideas. And back to center. Where is center? Center was everywhere. America, Hong Kong, Europe, and then Korea, everywhere. But center is actually what we actually finally pick it, which is Hangzhou. So we're back to Hangzhou.
And you picked Hangzhou, didn't you, Savio? You were the one who brought Alibaba to Hangzhou.
No. Ali actually started off in Hangzhou. Jack is a Hangzhou native, but he was all over the world, living in a suitcase, promoting Alibaba. So very few people realize that he actually originated from Hangzhou. So I went to Hangzhou, and Joe and I went there, and I remember going to a very cheap hotel, 120 RMB a night hotel. I lived there for 2 years to tell people this is home and this is how much we can afford. And I think we quickly, within 30 days, we restructure everything. We kill off the US, we kill off Europe, we kill off Hong Kong, basically, we kill off Korea, and we restructure everything else back to Hangzhou, coastal area, Shanghai and Beijing, and then we're left with $9 million and a burn rate of $500,000. So all within less than 30 days. So that actually gave us a little bit of a breathing space.
Which actually, and we're here to talk about corporate culture, right? Says a lot about the agility. Now, but one more thing again, it's interesting. So you're coming from the traditional world, right? And I think, yes, Jack at this point in time only surrounded by, entrepreneurs and startups. So you brought the agility into Alibaba?
No, all the things are there, but we have never actually said what it is. That actually is quite interesting. Everybody thought I brought GE culture into Alibaba. Complete misconception. It is actually always been there. I just gave a system to bring it out, and then build some systems around it to do measurements. Measurements are all in behavior, not in a speech. And then that actually grew, and then it actually clarified the Alibaba value. One of the key meetings was very interesting. After the board meeting that learned from us that we actually cut everything down. We have another 18 months to live and so on. And the investor immediately say, Savio, Jack, and Joe, when are we making money? We do not even have a business model, never mind about making money. So Joe and Jack and I had a very faithful meeting, very cold. We did not have any heating. So we are having the meeting, standing up, asking the key question is, should we give bribes? Very strange for a little company, start up to ask that question in the early days when they only have 18 months to live. Should we give bribes? And then we had a whole day meeting. Jack is neither yin nor commerce. And Joe is, of course, very clear. He's a lawyer. He has a JD a degree from Yale, and I used to work for GE, Policy 20.4, and FCPA and all that. But Jack didn't really. He was asking all the basic questions. What constitutes bribe? $5 or $500 or 5,000 and all that. So eventually, Jack asked the key question. Jack always asked the key question. He said, Savio, if we give bribes and things go wrong, who goes to jail? Joe and I were so happy. The penny has finally dropped. And we pointed our fingers at Jack, and Jack said, I go to jail? He said, yes. And then he said, Savio and Joe, if I went to jail, would you come and visit me? We burst out laughing so hard. We said, look, if you went to jail, we would be there waiting for you to have our management board meeting there. So no bribing. But once we have this no bribing, we stuck to it. So we look at all our products that we were having. All of them require bribing if you want to move ahead. So we actually issue orders and say no bribing at all. So now then every one of them came back and said, then we couldn't do any business. So we exit all those business, e-solutions, web advertising, and so on. And then we're down to our only last product, which is helping the SME to export. And we suddenly realize we are not helping the SME. The SME is not our target customer. The SME bosses are our target customer. Because if we help the bosses export, they would not need a bribe because it's their own company. And that actually is how one of the value was really clearly defined in action. And then we built the B2B business on that, and it went from nothing to $1 billion business in less than 10 years, and provided the cash flow to support Taobao and the others, which took a lot of money to help build it, into the size it is today.
Yeah, brilliant. So really agility, and as we say, in a moment of crisis, focus. So one of the B2C was really back to the center, clear product, service, focus. What else would you use in terms of objectives to describe the company culture at Alibaba? I mean, we all know Jack, a very inspirational figure. What is it for you if you would need to give it, a sentence?
Yes, it is all to do with behavior. So we started off our company culture with our company mission. The mission is, let's make doing business easy. So therefore, our target customers are the business people. But Jack left the business definition rather big. So C2C is also a business. A B2C is a business. A B2B, of course, is a business. So that actually very big, all including. And then what are the behavior that actually help this? So we have 6 now. We kind of streamline down. Customer number 1, because of trust, it is simple. And then always going to be changes. Today's top performance is tomorrow's minimum requirement. If not me, who? If not now, when? And then have a happy working life and a serious living. So those are the all action-related kind of 6 value that is still going on and pumping the heart of Alibaba today, even though the company is now more than 100,000 people.
Absolutely. So consistency is important. And thank you. So you really described the key ingredients for a good corporate culture. Now tell me, is this kind of like a cookie cutter solution? Does that apply to anyone?
No, it has to start, it is unique. So it has to start with your company mission. So what is your dream? So Jack always say, find a dream that is so big. If you solve the dream, then you would be very valuable. If you're valuable, then you will become well off. Everything else comes along. But don't go after money, but go after your dream. Something that you want to solve so big, so difficult for so many people that you solved it, and then that is your dream. Then how do you support solving that dream? That is your behavior. That is your company value. So we selected the 6 that I talked about. Those are the 6 that actually support the company mission of doing business easy.
Right. So really taking it hard to become obsessed with the problem statement, to create value, and then the money will come.
Yes, absolutely true.
Now, so you're lecturing also at HKU, right, about corporate culture. And what do you give as an example of bad corporate culture?
Bad corporate culture is when a boss wants to use the culture to organize everybody except herself or himself. That is actually a very bad corporate culture. A bad, not bad, but difficult corporate culture would be, let's make money and forget about the reason for making money. So money become the end rather than the dream. So you never talk about let's make money, but let's do something valuable. Then that would create value, and therefore some of us would make money, some of us would make more money than the others, but everything would work out fine. So that actually is the reverse. So in Chinese we call it 因果, the cause and effect. So if you reverse that rule, it would be bad. That would be bad. Yes.
Understand. So now let's say we have this strong corporate culture, and let's say like lots of startups, founders, their teams, they start with a great mission. They get to a strong culture. When does this turn into a competitive advantage? What makes the difference between one succeeding and the others not?
You will need a crisis. Usually a company mature when they have a crisis. Alibaba is never short of crisis, so we mature very quickly because we had many crises. The running out of money and all that. But then the next kind of a stage was we had to break even so that we, do not run out of money after 18 months. We did that. So we focused on helping the SME bosses to export. So in 2002, we actually broke even at $10 million. But after that, we need to scale that. And as we were scaling, the crisis came in the form of SARS. So 2003, SARS came to China. And then Alibaba was right in the middle of SARS. And because our team went to a Canton trade fair. And when we came back, one of our team members had a persistent temperature that didn't go away. So she was a suspected SARS case. And the government is actually keeping us saying that, look, she might need to be quarantined away in a hospital. And then if she does, maybe the whole of Ali, or 600 some people at headquarters would have to be quarantined too. Then whilst that was happening, I actually have a lot of our staff coming to me and say, Savio, give me 5,000 RMB. Some would come to me and say, I want 350. And some would say, no, I want 2,500, whatever. So I dish out over 300,000 RMB. At the time, was a lot of money. They were all people asking for money so that they can set themselves up to work from home, just in case we got locked up. So we did get locked up. But before we got locked up, all these people actually got ourselves established in terms of working from home. Our engineers did one thing, put the telephone on a platform. Anybody who worked from home can pick up the phone and answer the phone. So nobody knew we were not working from the office, and then we were locked down. And so that actually saved the company, because during that time, the traffic went up 7 times and our cash income went up 5 times. So that was the scale we needed. Why? Because of SARS. Nobody wanted to do business face-to-face. They all came to Alibaba. and all our people were helping them from home, doing business on the internet. And that actually turned a crisis, in fact, a potential disaster, into the scaling that we actually were looking for.
Wow, that is impressive. And now, obviously, the world can relate to that situation you lived through, right? We're somehow reliving through such a situation. I want to remind, I probably can still take one or two questions.
Sure.
And I can see I have one coming in right now. Let me just read it out to you. So can you tell us what is Jack doing now? So I think a lot of people are wondering, is he returning to full-time education or has he any other plans?
When he retired, I was invited with the other founders. So I was a rare honor, because I'm not a founder, on stage to summarize my experience with Ali and Jack. And Jack told us that he's going to do three things. He's going to go back to education, philanthropy, and also travel the world and be a teacher. So that actually is what he's doing. Very active, but not trying to run Alibaba from behind.
Right, right, fantastic. Well, so I hope that was from Chris. You got a little bit more insights. I actually wanted to get back, and we will talk about corporate culture. So I understand. So really, taking advantage out of strong focus, potentially triggered by a crisis. When you define competitive advantage, do you look at competition? Do you benchmark yourself versus competition?
It is very tough to benchmark. So it is like running an army. Everybody knows exactly what to do when they are faced with a certain criteria or crisis, even though the people are so far away. So, for instance, take GE. GE, one of GE's key value is integrity, no bribing, policy 20.4. And GE's head honcho would be very comfortable. Anybody anywhere in the world faced with a bribe-related question will say no, not ever. Not under any circumstances. So that is really the key. So at Ali, at any other company, the test of the culture is that you do not have to monitor it. People will do it automatically. Like we ask our people, what made you organize for working from home? You know what they say? They all said, look, because of SARS, we can all be locked up, but our service to the customers cannot be stopped. So really customer number one.
Customer, yeah, one of the C's, right? So really, really very, very clear focus. Amazing. So I think it's great because even you having lived through SARS, how you can master a crisis, and arguably I feel like it sounds like turning crisis, shortage into a competitive advantage, right? What is the one thing you tell your students at HKU and any budding entrepreneur in terms of building their own company and scaling it successfully, such as Alibaba?
Well, I would love everybody to ask themselves the question, why do they become a startup company? What is in their dream to deliver and to whom? So the mission and the target customer. And once you got that, then you ask yourself, then what are the behavior in our company that actually help us do just that? Very simple question, but very hard to answer. I also, a co-founder of a consulting company with my partner, Malcolm. And we have done 200-300 startups in mainland China now. And then we work with our portfolio companies and people, our clients on that. On exactly that. That is one of the key areas of helping them to build something that is their key differentiation.
Fantastic. And now I know we're soon at the end, but I know you're still very, very much involved, but thinking about also transition. So how do you actually transition over strong corporate culture that is a competitive advantage to the generations that are coming behind you?
Yes, I think you have to sort of in my experience, my next, my reward for this current assignment is always at the next assignment. So I think Jack is probably discovering that his current assignment is actually the benefit of his previous, all these things that he did are coming through to fruition. And it happened to me. I have stepped down, and then I went into consulting and went into helping other startups. And that is where I get my fulfillment. The reward of Ali is actually at this next level and next and next. So if you think of that, you are actually talking about a succession right from day one. So you're not doing anything different. You're just letting somebody else who can actually do it better, because they're younger, they're smarter, they are faster, they're bolder, they're more diversified, and they are more diverse than you. But because you have actually passed on the culture, you're going to be very comfortable that the company is going to be going in the right kind of direction.
For sure. And you definitely leave the inspiration and the role modeling behind. We are so blessed here in Hong Kong to have you with us on the ground, you know, for our ecosystem and to the benefit of all startups. Savio, unfortunately, we have to stop it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll dial in soon again. And thank you so much for being with us here at Startup Impact Summit. Thank you, Savio.
Yeah, thank you, Karena. Yeah, thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.